Hi.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. Hi, Mary. How are you?
I'm good. I was dancing to the beat. That was some good tunes.
Welcome, everyone. I'm Bridget Mbanda from Cape Town in South Africa. Our conversation is about the coronavirus and mindfulness. So I'm Rebecca, and my co-host is Mary Elizabeth Jackson, and she's in Nashville, Tennessee, in the USA. And the one thing that touches us all, regardless of where we are, is the coronavirus. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Hello and welcome back. I'm Bridget Mbanda from Cape Town in South Africa, and we're talking about mindfulness and the coronavirus. It's hard not to feel a sense of concern, stress, and along with that goes a whole lot of misinformation that is misleading and downright criminal um, under the circumstances. Mary, what has the situation been like for you and your family?
Hi. So I'm Mary Elizabeth Jackson in near Nashville, Tennessee, and it's very similar here to, I think, kind of even where you are in the world. And it's kind of interesting that this is, we had conversations about this last night. I have a lot of friends in the medical industry. So, been keeping up with them and what they're dealing with in the, as you want to call it, the trenches of all this. But, this is an interesting thing. There are a lot of things in this world that affect all of us globally, but this one has had more it's been more in our social media than like anything in our lifetime, our parents' lifetime, their lifetime. It's their grandparents' life. I mean, their parents' lifetime, so our grandparents' lifetime. So here we have schools are closed, drive-throughs are open, in dining is closed, bars are closed, all non-essential travel is being asked to not happen. Gyms are closed, theaters, parks that have playground equipment, because the metal playground equipment, the virus can live on for several days. So they've been closed. And the colleges, the schools here in the state of Tennessee have been asked to stay closed till March 31st. So I know for my daughter's college, they are going on to online classes March 30th. So, I don't know if that's much different from where you are. They have closed beaches here. We were supposed to go to the beach this week and we did not. The beaches are closed. They don't want large gatherings of people, no more than 10 people in a room. So, the interesting thing that's happening here, Brigetti, is some of the hospitals, because they have canceled surgeries unless they're emergency, all elective surgeries have been canceled. So there's a decline in the hospitals of patients. So they are sending staff home. So I know that's happening here as well, where I live.
Are you saying they're sending staff home?
Yes, because they don't have enough patients in the hospital. In some of the hospitals, because they have canceled all non-elective surgeries. So if it's not an emergency, they're not going to do it right now.
Right. So something interesting, when we're looking, whatever happens, we always try and find a silver lining.
Mm-hmm.
And for us here in Africa and in South Africa, and even for yourself. Now, this morning I spoke to someone, a South African school teacher who lives in China, and she was telling us how, when the crisis broke, they were on vacation in China.
Mm.
And she said they didn't have time to prepare.
Sure.
They suddenly found themselves under a lockdown situation. She's in a country where English is not the main language, and everything that's disseminated is in Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
So it was extremely difficult for her to get information. And so this is where we have a huge leg up on the people in China that found themselves under lockdown for 2 months, some of them a little bit longer. They didn't have access to information that we have. They didn't understand a lot of what we already understand going into the situation. They
Right.
didn't have time. I mean, we've seen stampedes in stores and toilet paper of all things, masks and all kinds of essential items. They didn't have time to do that. They didn't stockpile.
Mm.
And what impressed me about their situation was seeing, as we're talking about mindfulness, was the mindfulness of the government there. There was provision for people to receive food parcels. There was provision for people who now didn't have any income.
Tell your sisters. Mm-hmm.
And, you and I were talking about Hotline earlier. We now, we may see situations where people run out of basic necessities. And so it's going to call for mindfulness so that we don't get into situations where people feel that they may need to turn to stealing or violence.
Right.
And we can prevent that kind of thing by being mindful of each other, checking up on our neighbors, finding if they're okay, and seeing what they need. What I've seen online, I don't know if you've noticed, but what I've seen online, there's a couple of groups that are formed where people can post what it is that they're offering, and other people can post what it is they're needing.
Yes, I've seen that too.
And
Yes.
very heartwarming. I even had a look on LinkedIn, even within the business community. I'm seeing people post offers of what it is that they can do, and others saying this is what I need for my business. And there's unique challenges, and I for a lot of entrepreneurs, for example, that have worked from home for all their lives. I mean, I have been on that path for the longest time. My children grew up with us basically being based from a home office. And, there are unique challenges. I was thinking this afternoon, so many people that are in the corporate world, have commented before that they could never
Oh, the
work
girls.
together as a couple. They'd kill each other or something. They just couldn't share the same space. And now we're forced to, it's amazing to see how we're becoming, how resilient people are to change. I'm not saying it's easy for everyone, but it's
Oh,
amazing
I
to
said
see
you didn't
how
have to
people
speak up.
are making a plan in a very short space of time to
Mm-hmm.
adapt. So if you're watching this program, what are the changes that you needed to make? What have you done? What are you struggling with? Let us know in the comments.
Right.
Um, you know, how has it been for you and your family? Have you guys needed to make any changes to accommodate working from home?
Yes, absolutely. I have kids here. Hold on one second, because this is real life. Yes, fishy pooch. Just give him a couple right now. Okay. Yes, but you need eggs too. Okay. Hi. So yes. Okay. So yes, this is so interesting, isn't it? But it's like this for everybody I know who's got kids home. You'd think that Everyone's trying to figure out, how do we work together? For me, I'm like you, I'm at home working, right? And then I go out. But the majority of what I do is at home, being a full-time mom, being an author, a writer, an advocate. A lot of that stuff is done at home. So for me, it feels like we're on a Christmas vacation, or we're on summer vacation, that kind of thing. But my husband was home. The stress level here has been incredible, because we had those horrible tornadoes come through 2 weeks ago that created an incredible devastation here, with loss of lives, loss of property, loss of buildings. It changes the scenery of a city. Places that we love to go, or like some of them aren't there anymore, and that affected where my husband works. They were without power for 6 days. And so he was working from home, and then working remotely, like going to different places to do work. But this is greatly affecting his business. They have about 1,500 accounts, and I think about half of them have closed already. So they're going to take a really big hit from all of this. And so as a family, we're having to reevaluate everything day by day. And now I'm not being dramatic. We are being mindful and aware of the situation. And I think for most all of us, everything is kind of a day by day thing, even though we're trying to plan ahead for the future. Nobody knows. This is such an unknown. And I think that's part of what the fear is for everyone, is, not getting it, not spreading it, hoping loved ones don't get it. I can't go see my loved ones because, we're talking about grandparents. When you have children, they're asking us to stay away from them and things like that. But we're in one of those situations where, him being the main breadwinner, taking a hit with all of this is really going to affect us. And we are trying to figure out, how do we plan around this? What do we do? There's just so many uncertainties. But as the parents, we have to remain calm, and we have to gear ourselves with the correct information and be mindful about how we appear in front of our children. It doesn't mean we need to be fake, because we have to teach them, what do you do in a crisis situation, or a situation like we have? I mean, this is just, we're all dealing with something that's so unbelievable. And nobody, it's not that anybody is more of a victim here, or nobody's more important. We're all the same. We're all dealing with the same thing. But we as parents have to be mindful what our face looks like, what our facial expressions show, how we talk to our kids, how we explain, people getting grumpy, people getting angry. And there's a lot of funny stuff out there on Facebook. I mean, I have chuckled over, the schedule list that moms have put up, starting, school doesn't start until they've had 2 cups of coffee. The kids are eating leftover chicken nuggets all day. They're on the screen inside, they're on the screen outside. School is done when the cocktail hour starts, just a lot of funny stuff. And laughter obviously helps us get through. But, I have quite a few friends in the medical field, and I was talking to one of my closest buds last night, who's a pharmacist, and her stress level is incredible with all of this going on, because they're in it every day. They're getting updates faster than we get updates about things because of being in the medical industry, and so it's very scary for them, because they're also aware that when they leave work, they pray and hope they don't bring anything home to anyone, their kids, family members. We have chosen to get together outside when the weather has been good, because we have a lot of rain here going on. And we actually sat outside and ate last night so we could have that commune of that time together, because people do need that socialization. But we were out in the fresh air, so we weren't as concerned about anybody sharing anything. But I think the concern is, as we go on with this, how hard are people going to get hit financially, and are people going to turn to things like what you mentioned earlier? Are people going to start to become more aggressive and trying to save themselves? And is it the survival of the fittest? And so that's where mindfulness comes in, and awareness. And yes, checking on our neighbors and friends and people who need things, and sharing what we have. I know our big stores here for our country have asked, and some of the stores are global, Walmart and Target, and that, please don't overbuy. The statement the other day was, people are buying more right now than they even do at Christmas time. So, we need to share. I picked up groceries My husband picked them up Saturday. I did a, online order. I got no paper towels that I ordered because there were none for me to get. So, my neighbor's like, today, she said, if you get bread today, can you get me a loaf? Because I'm out. She has 3 kids. So I'm obviously going to do that for her. So, it's a scary time we're in, but we do have to remain mindful and grounded and aware and responsible. Like you said, I mean, I've seen stuff online,
Yeah.
people talking about stuff that it's like they have a platform, they have a voice. They've even been on television, so people listen to them, right? And they are talking about things in a way that's irresponsible because they have not checked their facts. They're just kind of going with what they've seen visually and what they're assuming without checking. And that you have to check, because
Oh, absolutely.
all they're doing is
Oof.
inciting more fear and more division within within people, and that this is the time we have to come together and go, I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care what your bank account says. I don't even care what color you are. I don't care if you're short, you're tall. I don't care what you are. We are all in this together, and we have to help. And, that's something from the beginning of time as we know it is, this is what Jesus taught all of us. Whether you believe Jesus was who he was or not, he was a man who walked upon this earth, and he hung out with anybody. He didn't care who you were, and that's an intention that we are all to have. So that's kind of what this thing is showing us too, right? Among other things.
Yeah. I think, we've got so many opportunities to be mindful.
Mm-hmm.
Grocery shopping. A lot of stores have put up notices to remind us to be mindful
Mm-hmm.
of our
Yeah.
neighbors and not to take more than we need, because we all need to come through this. We all need to survive this,
Yeah.
because life is going to carry on after the virus is gone. And so, we all want to make it together. It's better together. So let's not be selfish. Let's be mindful. Take what we need, and if our neighbors need anything, be willing to share. Be mindful of others' needs. The other way we can be mindful, that you touched on earlier, was be mindful of others' immune systems,
Mm.
because we may reason that we've got a very good immune system,
Mm-hmm.
but we need to be mindful that there are others in our circle, others in our families. Now, I read an account earlier of a lady who, I think she lost 4 family members in a space of 7 days.
Where was she at? Where
She
was she
lost,
at? Was she in China?
no, in the US, in
From the coronavirus?
from the coronavirus. She had a brother die,
Mm-hmm.
um, and while the doctors were calling her to tell her that her brother had died,
Mm-hmm.
she heard in the background the commotion as her mom was coding.
Jeez.
So and she'd lost a sister. And a few days after that, she lost another brother. So she lost a sister, 2 brothers, and her mom within a space of a week.
Where did she live? Do you know?
I forgot. I need to look that up, but it is in the US. I think it may
Terrible.
be in New York. I'm not 100% sure. One can Google it and check that.
Mm-hmm.
But this stemmed from a family gathering, and I think, it's incredibly. I don't even know what I would say to her. I mean, to lose so many people that you love in a space of a few days
Mm-hmm.
is fathomable.
Yeah.
It's just crazy.
I didn't
And
see that
my heart
story.
goes out to a family.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
that,
absolutely.
it would seem that it resulted from a family meal that they'd had together, um, just prior to this happening.
Mm. Isn't that
And
terrible?
so, yes, and so I think, when the government says to us, self-isolate, do not get together. If you know that you have a parent that's vulnerable, or a sibling or someone, be mindful. And the one thing we have these days is technology. And
Mm-hmm.
beyond a phone call, we can do video conferencing. It is so easy to do video conferencing. We can do it right from our mobile phones.
Right.
So, if we're struggling with the social isolation, do a video call because it's real time and we can see each other. And it's a great way to rally around and connect through video calling if we can't meet each other in person. And it's an amazing tool. You and I have been friends now for a long time. We've never met in person,
Right.
but our friendship is real and it's grown online.
I know it's absolutely amazing. It's 3, maybe almost 4 years, and I mean it's like family. It's so fascinating and it's awesome, and it's blossomed into almost 2 years on live streaming together, which is just so cool. And my neighbor the other night, she's very social. She was like, this is her worst nightmare, right? So she tried to do a video chat with some of us down here because she's up on the other end of the street. She's like, I need them doc, so and then there were some other neighbors out walking yesterday, and everybody's just like, they're so happy to see somebody else, and it's really awesome. And so I wanted to say, okay, so something positive that I think is really cool. This neighbor who tried to do the video chat the other night, she has brought out her Christmas lights and decorated the outside of her house because, which is great because it brings joy to people, right? So the lights bring joy and happiness. So it's like, I don't know if everybody will start putting their Christmas lights up or what, but I was like, oh, I think that's beautiful because it's just amazing. Now, something we did at our house, it's support healthcare workers. I don't think that's the right Facebook group name, but you can check. So we cut out red and pink hearts and we lined our glass front door with them. So that is to support our healthcare workers that are going into work every day out there in all of this, which does put them in danger and then hurt their families when they come home, So, I mean, I know, I'm concerned my husband is still going into work. And out of the hundreds and hundreds of employees that they have, there's only about 10 of them in the building, and they're doing video conferencing in different rooms. So none of them are even together. But he's out there, and you go, okay, so hopefully he's, every day, okay, hoping he's clean. And, I told him, I don't think we should kiss until this is over, So he didn't think that was funny, but I was like, well, we just got to be careful right now. But it's, I think anything that we can do to show support and to make things light and make things easy and be aware and be mindful, all those good words are just, I think it's something that's going to save us. It helps us to continue to be resilient because all the heaviness of this, oh my gosh, we could all go sit in a closet and just, just not come out and go into depression. And those of us that have kids, we have to stay up for them. We have to stay positive. We have to show them, okay, so this is what's going on in our world. This is what we've been presented with. And this is what we do about it. We pull up our big girl panties or big boy panties or whatever, strap our boots on, and we keep going forward. We don't let this stop or completely stop or depress you or get you, just down in the dumps where you can't function. There's a lot of people out there who are not used to being home together like this in this concentrated. I have a lot of friends who are moms who go out to work and they did not want to be stay-at-home moms. They're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't survive that. So this is very challenging for them right now. In kids, I mean, my guy is like a sponge. He's like a pinball machine. His energy and the way he soaks up things is so fast. You have to constantly have something to do for him. I mean, it doesn't stop. It doesn't turn off. We don't take, here he comes bebopping in again. Yes, sir. So, it's, no water right now. Okay. I know, later, water right now. Yes. So this is what we get to deal with. Isn't this fun? So, that's okay. This is real life, right? This is what we're all dealing with. You and I are not putting frosting on the cake to make this look perfect, are we? So this is real life, right?
Real life, absolutely, that's for sure. So you've touched on something I just want to mention again, and that's mindfulness when you've got a family at home, especially when you've got children.
Okay. Yep.
In an instance where the husband or the wife is still needing to go out and be social with co-workers,
Mm-hmm.
you do want to be mindful of the amount of contact you have with each other, because your partner is still, being out there and more exposed than
Mm-hmm.
you are.
Mm-hmm.
And so you would want to be careful so that you stay healthy for your children.
Right.
That's another area that one needs to, because if one of you become infected, it's going to have a huge impact on on your living arrangements in the home, because whoever has
Um,
it has to be completely isolated
right. And that's
from the
gonna
rest of the family.
suck. That's gonna really suck. And so I every day I pray, and we just hope that that's not gonna happen. And especially, we have there's asthma in the family here, so that's a concern. I mean, my little guy just came through being very, very sick with flu and strep and having to be on the breathing machine. And as a parent, that is really hard to go through with your kid. It's really hard on your child being so sick like that. But watching them go through that, and it's just really, that's a hard thing to go through with a kid, and just see a child for almost 10 days not be themselves, and be so grateful once they are back to normal. It's like, oh yes, I didn't realize how much I missed that running around craziness thing that you do, because you're still 6 and you have all that
Yeah.
great energy. So but we have to help our teenagers. This is hard. My 6-year-old, he is going to understand how much we can tell him at his age, at his level, to understand, but he just knows everybody's home with him, and that's cool, because then he's got people to play with, right? But the high schoolers, the college kids, our college kids, this is really, really tough on them. It's been very tough on my oldest. They are at college, they're doing their
The
thing. They've got
social isolation
God,
is huge,
huge, especially when you got roommates and you guys have like sleepover every night, because that's basically what it's like for 2 roommates. So that's like sleepover every night, right? So you go from that to this, and yeah, you can see it like a spring break still, or you can see it like a Christmas vacation or a summer vacation, but they weren't mentally prepared to know, okay, you probably are not going back right now, and you are going to be home for 5 months, and everything's going online. So there's a lot of things that they're missing. Kids are missing graduations and proms, and for a senior, I'm so glad one of my girls is not a senior in high school this year or college, because that's so sad for them. And I mean, who's prepared to deal with that? The child is not prepared, and the parent is not prepared. So we're all kind of making our way through this, and we're making it up as we go, aren't we? And it's tough. I
Yeah,
mean,
absolutely. And
it's
so I
tough.
think, when in our dealings with one another, it's another way in which we can show mindfulness, because we don't always know if somebody does lose their cool, and they're acting a bit out of character. Let's be mindful of the fact that they may be going through stuff like dealing with children that are having difficulties with the isolation, or children that are not well, and that it's hard on them trying to keep their immune system up. We're all going through challenges of different kinds. And so I think there are so many opportunities to be mindful. And I want to touch again on what we spoke about earlier, just by way of reminder. We want to be mindful about what we share out there. We want to be mindful of not spreading fake news or misinformation, because it is something that can be downright dangerous, not just for ourselves, but also for others. In fact, in South Africa, they are, I think, very soon, spreading fake news and misinformation is going to become a criminal offense.
That's good. And
That is
Facebook.
how serious it is.
Right. And Facebook is, I both have been told Facebook is kind of trolling around, and they're taking things off if people put stuff up that are going to scare other people. They're taking it off, and they should, because it shouldn't be allowed to be up there. Everybody wants to know what the truth is. Everybody wants to stay informed. I heard somebody the other day said, nobody's telling us how this is transmitted. Well, that's not true. It's everywhere. It's on the news. It's on social media. You can find it anywhere how this thing is transmitted. You could call the doctor's office and ask them how it's transmitted, and they will tell you. Because as a whole, that information's out there so that people will stop and they'll be careful. You know.
There's not accurate information. If you go to wherever you are in the world, if you look for health organization, and if you call government health department, they will have on their official website, they will have accurate information and contact numbers for your region. But if you want to get a global overview, go to the website of the World Health Organization. You'll find the facts there. So, we find that people are spreading SMS messages, they're spreading WhatsApp messages, Viber messages, little videos. That is misinformation. And what they're doing is they're crediting it to so-called credible organizations. But it's not true. So please, when you get a message, when you get an email, when you get a video, please go and check the facts before you hit the send button. So we want to implore people to pause. When you get something, pause. Don't be too quick to go and share that message. Check the facts, make sure it's correct. Because certainly if you are in South Africa, you can find yourself in very hot water if you're sharing fake news or misinformation about the coronavirus. This is very, very serious. Check your facts.
I think that's really good that they're doing it. I mean, not that it takes nobody's trying to take away freedom of speech or violate civil rights of any kind anywhere. It is just that there's enough panic. There's enough scare and fear out there that we in order to keep everyone calm, it's got to be very gentle and very basic and very easy and very much where people can go, okay, I can absorb these three things, about this whole situation. I can work with that right now because it's really basic, because I mean, if everyone's freaking out, I mean, we're all trying to stay calm, but we can all still feel that, for people who are sensitive and empathic and all that stuff, they can, most of us can feel the hysteria that's out there. And all you have to do is watch the news and it creates more hysteria, right? Because you think the world's going to blow up tomorrow. So, and I think that the news is trying to do a better job of not scaring people and making sure that what they're putting out there is accurate. I know here locally, they've been doing, like, the mayor will get on Nashville and do an update. Like, this is what we know right now. This is how many cases we have in Nashville. This is how many cases we have total in the state of Tennessee. Please continue to be vigilant, distancing. And then as things have been closing down, they have been updating people about that, because earlier in the week, so we're on Friday, so Monday, Tuesday-ish, I think it was around Monday-ish, they were calling for the closing down of bars on Broadway in Nashville, which is like, you've never been there, but it is, it looks like New York City with everything so close together, and it's where all the honky tonk bars are, and all the there's a lot of entertainment that goes on down there, and you can just, any night that you go downtown, there's thousands and thousands. I mean, it's just like this, droves of people are down there because it's a big tourist city in our country, and so they had talked about Monday, okay, we're going to be asking, all these bars to close and some of the restaurants to close. And there were some owners that were like, no, we're not, we're not doing this. You cannot, that's a violation of our civil rights and our civil liberties, excuse me. And they were really trying to fight this. And then there was all this backlash on Facebook about them being so stubborn, because when it's all said and done, the purpose of it is to not take away their business. The purpose is to keep droves of tourists from catching it and then taking it back to where they live, So it's really hard because, you don't want to have to make businesses close because they have mouths to feed and they have bills to pay and they have to take care of themselves. That's their livelihood. And it's really I know it's been a pretty tough decision. Some of the people who have to make these decisions, it's probably been really stressful on them to have to make these calls, because there's a lot of backlash, and people don't like to be told what to do. God knows we know that, right?
Absolutely. I think, there is so much room for mindfulness, and bearing in mind that, it's a pandemic of proportions we've never seen in our lifetime before. And so, people that are leading us in the country are having to make tough calls, tough decisions, closing ports, closing airports, closing businesses. These are tough decisions to make because it has economic ramifications. But I think we're running out of time now. I think let's just remind each other every day to be mindful of our needs, be mindful of others, and let's get through this together.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And some of it seems extreme, but there's two sides to everything. You know what I mean? It is extreme, but if we do this, can we avoid all of what everyone, the other places have gone through if we're more prepared, over prepared, and I don't even know who I heard say it on the TV. If we want to look back on this time and say we were over prepared and we did too much. So, that's kind of what they're doing. And we do have to stay mindful and stay calm and get creative, about what we can do with our kids and our families, and just remember to try to keep our moods up. Keep it light, keep it happy, keep it simple. Share things on. If you found something that worked really great with your kids, post it. Like we posted the other day, we just did a little short video on IG. The kids and I did of a little experiment, hey, do this with your kids. At least it takes up 10-20 minutes of time, and it teaches your little one something, So, the girls sang the other night. They did a live stream and they sang for about 30 minutes, just trying to kind of lighten things up and share their voices and, be of service. How can we be of service to others? What we can do to help? It all counts, and it's all really important, and it lightens people's hearts that are already struggling. I mean, especially people with children who have challenges and disabilities, and they're not allowed, they can't take the kids to OT, they can't take them to speech, they can't take them to behavioral therapy, they can't have a parapro, they don't have somebody working with their child all day in their home. That is some stress that a lot of people will never understand or know, So
I think we need to do a live stream about that. I think that's a whole topic on its own. It's a huge topic, so I think let's chat about that one some more. And I think I want to just say thank you to everyone who's watched us live today. Thank you for joining us, and if you're watching this on the replay, thank you so much, and do share the broadcast. And remember to spread kindness, spread goodness, and be mindful.
Right. Yeah. And let us know what you're doing. If you guys are doing something where you are that is helpful and light and fun, let us know,
Thanks for watching, everyone. I'm Bridget Band in Cape Town, South Africa, and saying goodbye for now.
And I'm in Nashville, or near Nashville here. Say bye-bye. And this is real life. So thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to all get through this together, aren't we?
Bye, everyone.
It's not like